Hello, my name is James Hunter, and this is my Two Cents channel where I talk about topics from physical fitness, mental health, and topics I may want to discuss. And yes, that was some shameless flexing of the biceps, but the purpose of this video is not about me flexing my biceps. I'm going to talk about commitment. I made a video a little bit earlier down my list of videos, which was about commitments, or there is no just a little bit. Either you're committed or you're not committed. But in this video, I want to talk also about, the concept of, the definition of insanity, which many already pretty much know a saying that goes with that. It's basically doing the same type of behaviors over and over again and expecting a different outcome or different results without being willing to change behavior, essentially to do something different. You're just doing the same old, same old. So, I know this one individual, and this really speaks to the issue of people that they kind of have this like magical thought process, magical thinking. They don't really want to accept or make decisions based off of, what is true, what is known, and what's going to work or get you results. They kind of are fishing for, something that's going to scratch the little itch, so to speak, but not really address the issue or the problem. So the thing is, I know individuals, not just, several people. I'm not pinpointing on any particular person in case some of my friends are watching this video. But they kind of they've been in a situation, not kind of, they are in a situation throughout their life to where, they're trying, and I'm speaking to people who maybe want to, or they've been trying to keep weight off, lose weight, or get in better shape. And it can not just losing weight, but just, any other particular situations they're trying to change. And they've been dealing with this issue throughout their life, and they've been presented plans, information, and ways to deal with the situation that are proven to work and will work if they work a plan and apply it, and then remain consistent, with that which has got you the result. And so you have these situations where it's possible, but they just don't seem to be willing to pull the trigger, so to speak, in terms of that commitment. So I know one individual, and I get messages periodically for 5 years back at least. These messages will come in my Instagram or Facebook, and they'll send me a picture. Oh, look at me, I need to do something. A picture that shows themselves maybe in their mind, maybe in a not so flattering light. Maybe it's they're gained weight and they're overweight or obese, and they're trying to do something about the situation. Some of these individuals have actually lost the weight and got it down towards manageable, and they were healthy and fit for a period of time, and then they reverted back to the old behaviors and started doing the things that got them to be overweight to begin with, and then they put the weight back on. And so it's like they're resetting or restarting, like, oh, what do I do now, right? Like as if they somehow don't know. Well, the truth is that they do know, but they kind of want to play with this magical thinking that, maybe somebody, if I just keep asking enough people who are personal trainers, or if I keep just asking enough people who are in the fitness field, maybe one of them will give me the answer I want to hear that will tell me, yeah, keep drinking the wine every night, right? Go ahead and keep going out and eating all your meals at restaurants. No, you don't, you don't need to cook any of your meals at home. Yeah, it's okay if you just go ahead and have that cheat day, and everybody needs to live a little, right? Just eat whatever you want for a whole day, and then get back on track, which may be something, there might be something to be said for that if it's somebody who has a proven track record of being able to have discipline, balance, and they have things already under control for a long period of time. But not so much for people who are not demonstrating any kind of control. They're just like yo-yos, up and down, can't stay committed, or for some, they won't even make the commitment. They just keep fishing for someone who wants to give them the answer that makes them feel good, where they don't have to take any responsibility or change behavior, or the next biggest thing, or the promise, the next fad diet, the next, fancy sounding transformation program, right? So this one individual sends me a message, which I've had this conversation with this person before, plenty of times on terms of what they need to do to lose weight and then manage it and keep it off. Create a negative energy balance or calorie deficit to lose weight, to get that process going, nutrient dense foods, low in calories, Once you have achieved, a manageable, healthy weight for you, then within that situation, if you're being disciplined, you continue to do the things that help you to lose weight. And within a balanced situation, can you have some flexibility? Yes, you can once you are there. Say, for example, you've already lost 45, 50 pounds, and then you're consistent, you're exercising, you're eating according to your needs. At that point, if you are building discipline and you have that self-control, to have some flexibility at that point, yeah, that's fine. There's something to be said for that once you get there, okay? But not when you just starting a plan, you haven't even lost 1 pound yet. Very, be a big setback for a lot of people in terms of who already struggle with behavior. So this individual sends me a message. It's always gonna be the same answer. It's not your exercise program. You're already exercising. Exercise is not the problem. You can't out-exercise a bad diet. We've all heard that before. I've seen countless people on an elliptical, a treadmill, lifting some weights, but they still have the big stomach. They're not losing weight. They're still overweight. And the difference is the single, I guess the variable, if you will, that's the factors. They're not changing the way they eat. Are they better off because they're exercising? Yeah, of course, they are better off for doing that. So at least they're doing the exercise part. And I'm sure that if they're not exercising, it could be worse. They may, be even heavier. But to lose weight, to get things to the expectation a lot of people want, they say they want it, then the behavior has to be congruent with what they say they want. And the behavior has to reflect that which is true, that which is known in terms of evidence-based things that are going to work for you. So this individual sends me a message on Instagram that, I talked to a personal trainer, and, his transformation program for 90 days is $3,000. And so, of course, she does, this is a person that we've had the nutrition and diet conversation plenty of times, right? But somehow they want to pretend to be naive, or somehow they don't know, they're ignorant, as to how come they're still getting back into the same boat again with the same problem, with the weight struggle. So this person is gravitating towards all these other things. Oh, it must be my exercise. Well, this person runs 5Ks, they lift weights, are working out 4 or 5 days a week. So that's not the problem. So in this person's mind, rather than focus on, perhaps there is something to the nutrition, let me go find this, the next biggest, baddest thing with a personal trainer who maybe has a magical program, right? So I politely said, if you want to spend $3,000 on a personal trainer, or hire whatever you want and try different programs, yeah, certain program designs in terms of exercise can be more effective for disturbing the metabolism, and if your goal is weight loss, there's a lot to be said for that. But I don't care about how good of an exercise program you're involved in if you're consuming too many calories, you're drinking too much alcohol. Essentially, your nutrition and your diet habits and your food habits, what you're doing to yourself with that part of it, is just not supportive of your goal of losing weight. You can't outwork or out-exercise a poor diet. It's not going to happen. So this individual, of course, who's had this information provided to her, not just by me, by numerous other people, still does not want to get it. Can they intellectually understand the concepts in terms of physiologically the mechanisms by which people lose weight when you talk about metabolism, energy balance? And yeah, there's a lot of other things you can look at too as they get older, like hormones and things like that. But the bottom line is, human beings, we operate on the same principle in terms of how the body is going to metabolize and break down energy substrates, energy balance, losing weight, whether your goal is to lose weight or gain weight, and understanding that balance there in terms of either negative or positive energy balance, depending on your goal is to get bigger or lose weight, and then eating according to that and being consistent with it. Now, some people may have a faster metabolism than others, that's true, but if you're going in a certain direction, the goal to lose weight, whether your metabolism is fast as the next person's or not, if you stay consistent, you will eventually get there. You can lose some weight over a period of time. It's a process. Got to trust the process and remain consistent. It's like if you take, a gallon of water out of a swimming pool every day. At first, it doesn't seem like a lot. The pool doesn't look like it's going down a whole bunch. But after a month, 2 months, 3 months, and you keep taking a gallon of water out every day, before you know it, that pool is half empty, right? That's a huge change. But it happened over time, small steps at a time, was accomplishing that on a daily basis. So, changing, getting to where you want to be of losing weight is a similar situation too. So this individual, I politely mentioned, if you want to throw away your money, go ahead. I don't care how many personal trainers you hire. I don't care how many different programs you want to spend money on. If you want to go buy the next gimmick that's being sold on the infomercials late at night for suckers, for people looking for the easy way out, and you want to believe a lot of hype that's bullshit about losing weight, hell, go spend some money on some fat burners before you eat your double meat with cheese hamburger, right? You get the idea. And I'm not trying to be mean, but it's ridiculous with a lot of individuals and their bullshit in terms of here's the deal. It's kind of like, we can talk about addiction and drugs and what have you, and some people can have addiction to sugar, and food addiction, if you will, and you look at it that. But the bottom line is this, is that it's not an excuse. You can change behavior, you can recover from that situation, but it takes a commitment to changing a way of living and a way of thinking, not being in denial, learning different coping mechanisms, other ways to manage whether it's stress, situations. You can manage your environment, control triggers, and so on. It's pretty damn hard to eat cheesecake or whatever it is when you don't have it in your refrigerator at home, right? It's hard to drink Dr. Pepper sodas if you're not buying them and putting in your fridge, right? So there's a lot to be said for proximity to certain foods. So if I'm only stocking my refrigerator with the foods I know are going to help me to be successful, and that is a choice, no one's forcing you to put Twinkies in the basket while you're at the grocery store, okay? So these types of things is where it's at in terms of what you're dealing with people of changing behavior, and that's really what it is. It's dealing with changing a way of thinking about your internal experience in terms of how you feel about yourself in relationship to people, places, and things. Things includes food, right? How you think about the situation, and you can distort the truth about how food affects the body. And just like I've mentioned in some other videos about gravity, right? Gravity does its thing. If I drop something that 100 times, it's going to fall 100 times unless it has a jetpack or enough helium balloons to not hit the ground, right? So gravity is going to do its thing unless the laws of the universe change, or physics and all that were to change, which it hasn't as far as we know. So gravity is a pretty reliable concept which I can make a decision on. I know if I jump off my house at a distance of 30 feet to the ground, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to fall, and there's a good chance I'm going to get hurt. I know that based on my understanding of gravity. So it doesn't matter if I want to distort, gravity and start thinking differently. Well, that doesn't apply to me. Maybe other people, but gravity, I don't care what people say about that. I don't want to hear about this gravity thing. I want something different. Maybe, this commercial told me that, there's another way, a shortcut. Yeah, I can do it, and there's other way. And then I go off of bullshit, step off my house, fall 30 feet, and break my leg. Why? Well, the outcome matched the reality of what gravity is, okay? So similar like with food and nutrition, people who say they want to lose weight, there are certain known principles that you just got to follow. It's what it is. So I don't care what you think about a so-called fad program, fat burning pills, all these gimmicks that detract from the truth of you needing to change your behavior in terms of how you manage food intake and emotionally how you deal with things, manage stress. That situation, if you don't deal with that, I don't care what you think about it, you don't escape the consequences of it. You're going to continue to stay overweight. You're probably going to keep gaining weight if you do not deal with your nutrition, getting a plan and working the plan and sticking to it. It's just like the gravity. Gravity don't give a shit what you think about it. Jump off your house, you're going to fall down, you could get hurt. Or a cliff, whatever, you get the idea. So I think of things like emotional intelligence. You can talk about maturity, those types of things with an individual. In my opinion, and this is not a dig at people, I'm not trying to just, talk down to nobody or be mean, but the truth is these types of things, when you look at people's ability to manage that, it is to an extent or a degree and a measure of part of your emotional intelligence, your emotional IQ, if you will, maturity, discipline, those types of things. It does say something about us. Now, I'm not saying that's all of who you are, but it is a degree and a part of that. It's a fraction of it, or it's a component. It does say something, and as you get older, we don't live forever, but how we manage ourselves and how we deal with those situations, it says something about responsibility to ourselves, others, and it's what it is in terms of what it can say about people. And you can drop a comment below and what your thoughts are on that. And I know there's a lot to people. You always hear the expression, "Oh, it's what's in your heart that matters." You got to be a good person. I agree with that 100%. But what good is it being a good person and having good character and good heart and all that if you're a family man and you have young children and you die of a heart attack before you turn the age of 50 because you did not manage all of the things that matter as far as or what are important and what can affect your life. So there's a lot of areas in which you can measure different characteristics of people that speak to discipline, emotional intelligence, and things like that. I mean, people who don't lose their cool real easy. They don't get angered real easy. They can handle a lot of stressful situations. They don't allow other people to get the better of them. There's a lot to be said for that. That shows somebody who's in control of themselves. And that does take a lot of discipline, a lot of respect for that. So similarly, in a similar fashion, for people who have that, but maybe you're struggling with other things, you can try to transfer some of that into other areas of your life. Like with people who are trying to change their eating situation, just like if people quitting smoking cigarettes or alcohol or something else. You learn to play the tape through. You think it through instead of thinking of the short-term gratification. You think of the long-term situation. What is it that you say you want? The long-term payoff is greater than the short-term gratification. You think of the value in terms of how much better you're going to feel, the health you're going to have. All of the things that matter. It could be your family, things that inspire you, that you want to be around for, that that can have an effect on. Our health has an effect on our families, because if you're healthy and you're around, you're stronger, you're much more effective at just doing everything in life, but you're also more effective as a family member and also being there for the people you care about. So, playing that tape through, as they say, think of, is it worth it? The short term can be real tempting. Yeah, like me, I'm training for a bodybuilding contest July 4th. And so I'm on a diet right now, and I have flexibility because it's a bit down the road. But as I get closer, I'll have to be more disciplined. And so I do that, and I get tempted. I'll be tempted. I'm going to get me, I could eat any number of things. Think of something that's good. My other half, she cooks buttermilk pies. She's really good with bacon. She can cake, you name it, cupcakes. She's real creative in the kitchen. She makes some good stuff. There's things that may be at home that are tempting. Now, when I'm on a diet, I'm choosing to do it, and it's a whole nother level when you compete in a bodybuilding contest. So it's a different, higher level of adherence to certain foods. So because I'm choosing to do that, I don't impose that on my other half, on her. She's healthy. She exercises, she runs, and she eats good, but she, may on the weekend, have some treats, and that's fine. That's her. I don't get upset about that because I'm able to differentiate and separate myself from the situation by, not becoming emotional about it. Why am I going to get mad at other people because they're eating something around me that I know I'm not going to have on my diet because I have a goal? And that's part of how I manage and deal with that situation. It's not stressful to me because of my perspective, how I'm internalizing it, and how I'm processing it. So when we are tempted or triggered to have foods that are not good for us, if you learn to take a deep breath and pause, break it down and process it, okay? What are the motivating factors? Be honest about it. Okay, why am I wanting to do this? Okay, it's it's pleasure, it tastes good, or maybe you had a bad day, it's going to make you feel better, any number of reasons. Well, then two, what are some alternative things you might do you can deal with that stress, right? Yeah, you can still have something to eat, but maybe eat something a bit different that's it's going to have less of a caloric impact on you, no sugar, preferably something else that you can derive a bit of pleasure from. I have found things that I can eat that are like there's different. I'm not going to plug a brand name, but you can make these very almost no carb, low carb pancakes, protein type pancakes that are good, and they're very rewarding. You might have a little bit of fruit with that, blueberries, a strawberry, something like that. Whole food, right? Something that's a much more reasonable situation than saying this really going out there and blowing it, like eating a half gallon ice cream or something like that, or for some people, binge eat and eat an entire pizza, bag of chips, whatever that situation is. So finding alternative substitutions for the behavior is a better situation. So play the tape through, find an alternative behavior that's going to have a less of a negative impact, and then just manage it and go through it. Be flexible where you're able to, and if you slip up, own it. Tell the truth about it to yourself. Don't distort it or be in denial. Say, yeah, I messed up, and you know what, that wasn't good. It set me back, and there's too much at stake. Own it, speak the truth about it, and try not to repeat it. As long as you do that, you're making decisions based on what is true and known, you have a greater chance of success. But if you bullshit yourself, you're going to just, we can be good salespeople in life. We try to sell things to people, whether it's an idea. If you're guys, you're trying to pick up a girl, you're in like salesman mode. You're trying to sell yourself to her. You're telling her, doing all your lines, your spill, trying to get a girl to go out with you, right? So we can do that to ourselves about situations. I can sell myself on a line of bullshit to make myself feel better about doing something I know is not the right thing to do. Specifically with goals we say we have, and then we just want to, play around with it. We're not really committed, to use that word committed again. So there's a lot of ways you can deal with managing triggers, whether it's to eat bad, you're somebody quitting smoking, whatever it is. But you got to deal with what the truth is about it, make a commitment, and then your behavior needs to reflect that. I'm not saying it's easy to always change behaviors, but so what? Who gives a shit? A lot of things in life are not easy. And, I myself, not just me, but other people who work in my industry, we may not say it, but we get tired of hearing that because it gets old. Oh, well, that's hard. Well, so what? A lot of things in life are hard. That doesn't mean you don't try. If that was the basis by which we made decisions, and that's the basis by how we live our lives, then what a defeated way to exist. And not only that, not much of a lot of things are ever going to be accomplished or get done in this world, because a lot of things are hard and challenging. Getting my education in college and doing all that while working and surviving on ramen noodles and living in my efficiency apartment and driving my car that had a a direct wire from the battery, or I think to the alternator or whatever, because my alternator was some of my alternator, and I had to run my car off of a direct from a wire to the battery or something like that. Had all this MacGyver stuff going on in my car. You get the idea. And so anyways, I existed on just things that were just enough to get me by for a long time until situations get better. So yeah, things in life are hard, but you deal with it. That's not a reason to not try. That's not a reason to not do the things that are based on what is true and known that are going to get you the result. So if the truth is too hard, and you're going to use that as your permission statement, well, I'm not going to try. Well, you can do that, but all this distorted BS you're going to go look for to make you feel better, to maybe give you the outcome you want, is not going to work. It's not going to work. You're always going to be brought back to the truth if you want to get the result you want. If you want to lose weight, go play with the gimmicks out there. Go waste a bunch of money. Go talk to people who are going to sugarcoat the truth. Maybe they just want your money because they know they know your situation, and they're going to exploit it and take advantage of it. Yeah, here, this is what it's going to cost. I'm going to sell you a fantasy. And that happens a lot. I'm just not somebody who's ever been willing to do that, because I have ethics, number one. And number two, I just have too much respect for myself and just the process of honoring the truth and commitments, that I don't want any part in that. I don't want any part in trying to enable or sell BS to people. We got to grow up and do the things that are going to get the result. So yeah, sometimes it can be hard, but it does get easier. And if your willpower it isn't always enough, and sometimes it may not always be enough. Sometimes the situation can be overwhelming if you don't have a plan. right? A program, if you will. So certain situations that you know can be overwhelming or powerful temptations and triggers for that, then, and your willpower may not be enough, then you need to have a plan for that situation. It might be as simple as not putting yourself in certain situations, managing your environment better, having a support system that's on the same page as you, right? A lot of things you can do, so it's not an excuse, and it doesn't mean there's not a way to overcome certain things. Now, as you get more, consistent with behavior over time, it does get easier. Willpower does get stronger, just like with exercise and muscles, right? It is something that you put into practice. It does get easier over time. So people who think it's too hard, with all due respect, it's not an excuse to not make a commitment. Um, you know, Whatever it is you're working on, it's education, losing weight, trying to accomplish any number of things. Think of that logic. If you apply the logic of, well, it's just hard, well, if you're applying that across the board, you're not going to get very far in life. But I think with things like dieting and changing those type of behaviors, because there are some physiological things going on, right? It can be challenging, no doubt, but it's definitely possible and it can be done. And at the end of the day, you're not going to die. I tell myself that all the time with a lot of things. It may be challenging. I may not like it 100% of the time, but I know I'm not going to die. I know I'll wake up, and life, it's a day at a time. So same thing with the nutrition and the diet. I make a joke when people say, well, I'm doing it a little bit, and they're not getting the result they want. And I always say, look, I guarantee you, if I could lock you in an apartment for 3 months, I'm not actually going to do that to a person, but or had control over what they're going to eat, essentially, I guarantee you, no doubt, they're going to lose a significant amount of weight in 3 months, because it's like gravity. It does its thing. The truth does its thing with regard to concepts and strategies and principles we know that work. So there's a lot of diets out there. At the end of the day, you're managing the macros. You'll see different debates on how much of the carb and so on. But you got a high protein, low carb, the keto diet, right? It's no carbs, or no more than 30 grams of carbs a day. A lot of people do to stay in, as long as they try not to go over that, to stay in ketosis. But sometimes you don't even have any carbs at all. You might do carb cycling. You only eat carbs on particular days. But there's different strategies. And I always say to people, if you're keeping your calories within, at the minimum, only what you need for energy, but if you need to lose weight, you need to create the deficit for a period of time to expedite the body burning its own fat. That has to be applied, regardless of the plan you pick or whatever the strategy is. And there's different studies that talk about low carb versus low fat and so on and so on. That's a different video. But at the end of the day, you got to make a commitment, right? Definition of insanity: doing the same things, expecting different outcomes. And certain people that have messaged me multiple times, same bullshit situation in question. I say bullshit because they're not listening. They hear it, but they're not wanting to accept it, what it is they need to do. Stay on your freaking diet. Yeah, flexibility where possible. And that's it. Change behavior for the long term. I don't care how many hours you stay on the treadmill, elliptical, jump ropes, burpees, the 5Ks, half marathon, whatever you're doing the weights, strength training, awesome. But if you're having several glasses of wine every night and you're consuming 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day, and your energy expenditure is not even close to that every day, you're not losing weight. You're going to stay fat and overweight. So you can't ignore that variable. You have to pay attention to all of them. So a lot of you who already know this, so I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel or even make the wheel per se, because this is information. These are things that people know. My video is about making basis and changes behavior on what is known and what works and what the truth is. And you can't distort it. And if you can distort it, but it doesn't change the mechanism by which the truth works. It's like gravity. I can think gravity don't exist, jump off a cliff 50 feet, I'm probably not going to do too well. So anyways, those are my thoughts for today on the topic of commitment, changing behavior, people who want to distort the truth, or come to an acceptance of what needs to be done and honor that commitment to yourself, because it's really about making a commitment to yourself, not just to the truth if you want to change behavior. And if you're someone who's just going to be at a place in your life that you're just going to accept that you're going to be happy with where you're at and who you are, that's fine too. Ain't no judgment. I know some people that they're not ready to make the change or commitment for that purpose of trying to lose weight, to be the most optimal situation they could be as far as their health. They say, you know what, I know I'm overweight, but it's what it is, and they're just going to be happy to live their life. That's on them. My only thoughts is that, well, at least they exercise. They got that going on. Hopefully it reduces, other risk factors. But something to be said, there's something to be said about people who have families too. So sometimes it's beyond just you. If you're already, 75, 80 years old, well, all right. But if you're 40 years old, 35, heck, even 50 is not old. And you got young people in your life, children, grandchildren, and what have you. Use those factors as motivating factors to maybe help yourself to make the commitments, or consider making the commitments in terms of what your values are, and expanding it beyond just, it's not about what I look like or in the health, but maybe it's beyond just that. It's about how my health affects other people, and so on and so on. So if you have any thoughts about this, whether something I didn't mention, maybe you disagree, that's okay. You can drop a comment below. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd really appreciate the support. I'm going to continue making more videos on these types of topics. Physical fitness, mental health, wellness, some exercise related type videos will be coming up later this year, probably, for sure in the spring, and then more in the summer. I'm going to be doing videos of my progress for my bodybuilding contests. Made some other videos earlier about my strategies. I'll be doing a bit different this year than my last outcome. So until I make another video, I hope you all have a good day and take care. Thank you.